Oh, good morning. Good morning, friends. Hi. Today is January 20th, 2025. This is a Monday, and this day is called Martin Luther King Day. This is the day that we as a nation celebrate the birth of Martin Luther King Jr., Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who was born January 15th, 1929. And most of you know that he was a great civil rights leader. He was a great advocate for peace and justice. And so I'd like to just to remind you of the importance of peace, of the importance of dreaming, of the importance of not losing your focus. Don't let anyone take you off of your mark. This shirt that I'm wearing has a lot of great trailblazers that some are still living and some are not. It just reminds us to do things like dream like Martin, lead like Harriet, fight like Malcolm. The whole shirt is full of all of those people. But one of the people that's not on this shirt, that's a great person, was John Lewis. This book is called Because of You, John Lewis. And the author is Andrea Davis Pinckney, the illustrator Keith Henry Brown. I'm not going to read it all. I just want to read a little bit because I just want to remind us that, first of all, you all are great. We are great people. And there are plans for us. And sometimes it's not easy to do, but we can do this. Let's continue to try to make the world a better place. Let's continue to try to do something for somebody, to live peaceably among each other. So let me begin. I'm going to read a little bit of it. His name is as bright as the dawn filled with stars, Tyree Faw. He wakes with a dream that sets the sky in motion. Tyree whispers his wish. I want to meet John Lewis. I want to shake his hand. I want to tell that congressman exactly who I am, me, Tyree. That beautiful name sings with the music of possibility. And there he is. So this person is just somebody who's dreaming of meeting John Lewis. When you're a kid from Johnson City, Tennessee, home to the Tweetsie Trail and a lake called Boone, when you're a kid growing up in the days of Black Lives Matter, you know the power of hope that glistens at sunrise. Tyree's grandmother knows it too. They pour all their hopes into their child's future. In their eyes, he is the light that shines on tomorrow, while his brilliance flickers today. When Tyree first discovers his hero, John Robert Lewis, friend of Martin Luther King Jr., it lights his dream on fire. He wants to know the man who stands for peace and love and truth. Then, from the pages spring the words that put on Tyree's wish. John Lewis, all about equality. John Lewis, unstoppable and brave. John Lewis marched across the Edmund Pettus Bridge, helped lead 600 people in the fight for voting rights, risked his life on a day we now call Bloody Sunday, 1965, makes that same journey year on year, keeping the memory alive. Like I said, I'm not going to read the entire book. Hopefully you can go and pick this up at a local bookstore or something, but it's worth reading just a little bit more if you don't mind. John Robert Lewis was a sharecropper's son. With dreams of becoming a preacher, he even preached his little kid sermons to the chickens on his family's farm. When you're a boy in Troy, Alabama, home to the Dixie Trail, gospel sing Sundays, and gut bucket blues, when you're a boy who has tasted the bitter fruits of racism, faith flows like gold from a honeycomb. One Sunday morning, years later, while John listened to the radio, the words of Martin Luther King Jr. crackled through Zenith speakers. Who was this man? Martin, telling the truth of Jim Crow's thorny beak. Martin, speaking the honest to goodness about hate. Martin, talking about racism and standing up against it with peace and love. Hearing Martin's words lit a light in John's heart. They flew straight to John's wide open hopes and tucked themselves into the deepest pockets of his understanding. I want to meet that clergyman. I want to shake his hand. I want to tell Martin Luther King Jr. exactly who I am. Me, John Robert. Tybree Fall reads and wants and waits. He has caught the fire of Martin and John. Tybree reads it in history books. John Lewis got the nickname Good Trouble on account of speaking out for what was right. Tybree reads about John Lewis at lunch counter sit-ins and freedom rides and in registering people to vote. He reads it in the newspaper. John Lewis brought his own kind of bold to the House of Representatives. Every time Tybree reads, he bookmarks and underlines, folds back, keeps track of anything to do with where and when the unstoppable Congressman John. Then comes the day. Tybree convinces his grandmothers to pack up their car, fill his tank, stuff the back seat with a snack box and books, and make the 400-mile drive from Johnson City, Tennessee to Selma, Alabama, where his hero will be making the once-a-year march across the Edmund Pettus Bridge. There he is. A whole lifetime before Tybree was born, John Lewis was now a teen applying to college, wrote a letter to Martin Luther King Jr., told him Troy State University is segregated, told him schooling is unfair, told him whites-only signs everywhere. John and Martin asked Martin what to do about Jim Crow's crooked croon in the segregated, prejudiced state of Alabama. That's when a bus ticket arrived. Martin Luther King Jr. invited John Robert Lewis to meet him. Martin called John the boy from Troy, and they called each other friend. In time, John and Martin came together arm in arm, heading in the same direction with many men and women in the movement. And I'm going to stop right there. Again, this book is called Because of You, John Lewis. Really well-written book. And I encourage anybody who can to go get that book. But today, think about how can you make the world a better place. Today, think about what can you do to live peaceably. Maybe it's at home. Maybe it's in your little neighborhood. Maybe it's across the seas. But let's keep Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream alive. Let's continue to love each other and pray for each other and help each other. I'm Miss Lisa Pizza. Bye, everybody. Take care.